길을 알려줘.
So Ante is going to take on 4 members of the dev team alone. Can she prevail? Let's find out.
7K dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. We'll be checking out level 40 Ante in Arena today. This is the Magic team first. Okay, this is the team that I thought that, it will be more relevant because more people could have these units, especially Scoot, Yeonhee. I know some of you don't have Eve, but she's still a pretty core unit in the Magic team now, or in fact any team. Okay, so as we know, Ante is pretty much a Magic hero as well, and if you don't use Eve here, you can actually substitute with Red Grid. You can use Rudy, you can use Judas. I think it's completely fine as well because you can even use Clemith, and I think some people are using Judas more often, in fact, because of the recovery rate. It really nerfs the recovery rate a lot, and this really helps against Rudies and Clemiths that you may possibly meet in Arena. Okay, and as we know, Ante has a very good skill set, almost too good. Okay, this is her top skill. She deals 500% to 3 enemies, exploits vulnerability, which means it cannot miss, and also decrease buff duration by 2 turns and decrease counter rate by 60% for 3 turns. So it is a very long effect and very useful as well, especially if you give her the Gallidus Might, which we'll talk about later. Okay, for her bottom skill, she is able to deal 400% to 5 enemies, decrease counter rate as well, and also has a 100% chance to blind and cleanse your entire team. So she actually has very good utility on her skill set overall. Okay, and in fact, if you unlock her exclusive item, her bottom skill gives her 70% chance to evade. Her awaken skill, okay, not only can paralyze, deal fixed damage, will also apply skill nullification 2 times. And then for her top skill, for her bottom top skill, yes, she will apply a new debuff called Dimensional Attack, which will apply fixed damage every 2 times. Okay, the target is attacked. So I think it's pretty cool because it's a dimensional attack, so the damage comes from out of nowhere. And as you can see here, the Magic team is still very strong. Okay, to be honest, right here we're facing an offensive team, and to be very honest, I think I have issues against offensive teams. I have no idea why, because I would expect Magic teams to be stronger. Unfortunately, I don't have Rin, so that could be a thing. But I feel that with Agnes Flame, with Dylan's very strong counterattacks, it is very difficult to actually break through, and maybe also because of Gerard's defense increase, I'm not sure. Yeah, and the bleed as well probably, or maybe my rank grade is just not as strong, so I find it very difficult. The isolation is a huge thing though, with Red Grid on the enemy side of the field. Yes, you will see later on. Yeah, my Eve goes down very quickly, and that's the most unfortunate thing. Yeah, look at Dylan's attack. It's crazy. I find it very difficult to fight against the offensive team, and I get obliterated incredibly fast. But we'll look at Ante's equipment. For my Ante, I gave her double crit, mainly because the lethal is provided by the frontline rank grade already. Okay, she also has double HP. For her accessory, I gave her Berserker Ring, Gallidus Might and Gallidus Block. So remember I said she does reduce buff duration by 2 turns with the Gallidus Might, right? So given the Gallidus, her top skill, so with the Gallidus Might, she will then reduce 3 turns whenever she uses that skill. And I use the Berserker Ring on her because she does have some bulk from her passive, whereby she's able to decrease damage taken from 4 target attacks and also decrease all damage taken. She also revives on 100% HP, and that is the biggest reason why I feel that Berserker Ring is actually usable on her, because she does have an extra life. And for her traits, I've given her a Silence Resist, Electrify Resist and Skill Use. Okay, for her jewels, Survive on 1 HP, Skill Use, as well as Magic Attack Increase. Okay, as you can see, I'm facing the dev team now, and it's not looking too good. And before I recorded this video, I was telling myself I am not gonna put any dev team clips on the video because I really find them super annoying. it's very difficult even if you have the best kit. Okay, honestly, if you can only go against them if you have death resist rings, which is a huge investment, and I won't suggest that, especially if you are just trying to climb casually. Okay, so as you can see, Ante is really holding her ground. Okay, I expected her to die very soon, but I think here is where it turned, the match turned, the paralyze. So the paralyze is huge, and thankfully she killed the Chris, because if she doesn't kill the Chris, I'll be so dead. And she also killed the Yonhee with basic attacks. And it really went down to this, whereby it's Eileen versus Ante, and I'm very grateful that, you know, his Eileen doesn't have Death Accessory, because if he does have Death Accessory, I'm gone, for sure. And Eileen also has Revive, you see, that's the thing. So we are really put against two reviving units, and I think Eileen must be pissed because she doesn't have 100% Revive. And moving forward, I really would think that 100% Revive could be a thing for new Prime heroes, because regular specials get 50%, you know, Prime heroes may get 100%. So this is the tank team I was testing in the live stream I did with Ante. It actually went pretty well. Okay, there's a lot of damage reduction, defense and bulk involved, and I'm using Mr. Armor again because I think it's pretty decent. Mr. Armor does give you shields every 3 turns, which is gonna mitigate a lot of damage, because right here we are actually relying on a lot of defense increase, and block rate increase. Okay, so if you can reduce the damage you take and you still apply shields, then the damage overall is going to be super low, as you can see there. You can also go with Rule. Okay, I think Rule is also pretty good because he does reduce crit and lethal rate. Okay, so the thing I want to talk about for this team is that Ante really does provide, I'm not sure if I would say Ante does provide the viability of a tank team, because previously we did try that with Clemith as well, and I do have a match whereby I went up against a very similar tank team, and it was not very fun, but I would really want to dedicate that whole match to a new video. Okay, it's not gonna put here to extend the time. So the way my so-called tank team works is really based on lifesteal instead of healing, as well as isolation, as well as defense increases, you know, and Ante is there to also decrease magic attack. So maybe that's why, you see, maybe that's why I have an advantage over magic teams, over offensive teams, because I don't have any way to reduce physical attack per se. Okay. Unfortunately, my rank grade dies here, but I think it's okay. Even though my bulk is severely decreased, because she does provide 3000 defense increase. But you will see here that, you know, Ante's blind is very clutch. So many people don't have blind resist at this point. The paralysis comes in handy as well. So her 2 CCs are actually pretty useful. So another way you can gear this tank team is that you can use Clemith instead of Eve. I think that will be an easier way to do things. Thankfully, here's skill nullification. So once you apply skill nullification later in the match, I think after turn 6, you pretty much, you know, kind of win. Because Rudy heals a lot more now, even though, you know, we may think that he's nerfed, but his healing is insane, and do note that there is actually a Judas on the other side of the field, right? So even my red grade is living very well here. I would say my weakest link is Eve, but she's also the most important hero as well because of her isolation, and she is pretty much the DPS right now in my team, because I don't have, you know, any other hero that can hit stronger than her, right? And thanks to the reflect, Judas died. So this is up against the meta team, or rather the meta last week. This Yonti does have death, so I was a little scared because she can completely wreck my whole team if her death kept coming through. Thankfully, Ante has debuff removal. At this point, I also removed the buff block. Okay, so from turn 3 onwards, I will be increasing my defense and block rate per turn with Rudy's best passive. And here I apply skill notification very conveniently after the debuff cleanse. So I'm at a very good start. And I think that's why, the tank team now, it really is possible. It really is possible to be used because of the debuff cleansing possibility for the buff block, which has been recently changed to a debuff, right? Here I have a turn 3 turn decrease I mean. So all Guardian Rings are gone, but I don't think it was needed at that point. It should be used a lot earlier. So the problem with that team is that if they don't have Paralyzed Resist, they are going to be in huge trouble, and I do paralyze 3 targets on their team. Also, I guess this is another reason why going up against an offensive team is pretty tricky because of possibilities of meeting Cult, right? Unfortunately, my whole team gets stunned, but the scoop does die to reflect, and my Ante does revive, and I think revive is really one of the best things because even if you die, you revive without any CC, and basically that's guaranteeing you a skill, or at least a basic attack from that. I will have to say that Rangrade's cooldown increase is pretty clutch sometimes because now we are in a 5v5 setup, so the cooldown increase, since I don't have resistance or immunity, it can potentially shut down my team. Okay. Speaking of which, if we were to use Ante in a 7v7, I think there's gonna be a lot more variety because as you can see, she can be used in a tank team, and she can also be used in magic teams. It's also possible that she could be used in offensive teams because there is extra space. But how I would see tank teams with Ante in 7v7 will be inclusion of Klamath, inclusion of maybe, I don't know who else. At the moment, I can't remember who else that is suitable in a tank team. Maybe Gerard for crit rate decrease, and yeah, I think Gerard is a good hero in a tank team as well because of his passive. And maybe, heroes that can actually reduce cooldown, that will be also good. As you can see, skill cooldown is very important here because there's a lot of skills that can protect us a lot, and if you do have Klamath, skill cooldown is even more important. Yeah. So in a 7v7, I think the area for Ante to be used is gonna be far larger. Not sure if it's gonna come back. Unfortunately, I used the shield way too early in this match and I don't get the skill notification, and I do get isolated. It's very interesting that, even when I was running a 4-1 formation, Ante would still be targeted by Eve, and that only shows her stats because Ante is only level 40, okay? Yet she's being targeted by Eve, who targets the 3 highest heroes with the 3 highest attack, right? So unfortunately, that will always be her fate. Eve does also blind, so that now we have 2 AoE blinding units. That's gonna be pretty annoying. You may need to run some blind resist on maybe your counter unit, in order to be very safe. And I really like how Rudy's utility has been going in and out a lot of times. Pretty interesting, okay, for a tank unit. And as you can see here, I do get my shields from Mr. Platine, and enemies' basic attacks really don't break the shield, especially when it comes to a later part of the match because of the defense increase and the block rate increase that Rudy provides. Okay, so the damage taken is really low, and yeah, it actually gives Mr. Platine a new fighting chance in the playing field, so it's good. It's all good.
나의 의지는 너의 의지, 나의 의지. 누구도 그 무엇을 방해할 수 없다. 내 잘못이야.
And yeah, tank team is extremely possible right now with the two Celestial Sisters, Rudy, you know, and Eve for lifesteal, and the new Ante. So let me know your thoughts on what you have seen on about the two teams and how Ante can be used. Big shout out to my channel members ZMD Phoenix, NDC Dahi and Reggie Bautista for the support. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much and see you!